At some point in your life, you probably wanted to develop a new habit or eliminate a vice. At some point, you had a strong desire to change things, improve, and act correctly. However, as you must have realized, this is much harder than it seems. We have all faced the failure of not being able to achieve what we set out to do. There is a fundamental part of the process of becoming better that is difficult for everyone to accomplish: discipline. How many times have you made a plan, committed to your goal, only to stop after a few days, giving in to impulses and reverting to your old self? This is something that has happened to all of us at some point. However, the fact that it is common does not mean it is right, or that we should normalize it. Normalizing mediocrity only invites us to be mediocre, to settle, to lose the will to challenge ourselves in life, and ultimately, to lose the possibility of becoming the best version of ourselves. If you can't overcome your vices, change your habits, or achieve your goals, you probably lack discipline. Discipline is the ability to overcome your short-term desires. These desires are the enemies of habit change. To change habits, we must necessarily develop our discipline. Discipline is simply the act of doing what you must do, when you must do it, even if you don't want to. In this video, I will explain why discipline is so important to be better at what we set out to do. We will also talk about why it is becoming increasingly difficult to be disciplined, and I will give you several tips to work on your discipline. Before we start, I appreciate it if you could like the video, as it helps to spread this philosophy to more people. And if you don't want to miss any videos, subscribe and activate the bell. Sharing more about Stoic philosophy, Stoics advocate self-control, promoting self-examination, self-control, responsibility, and objectivity. All this helps us live virtuously, leading a full and happy life. And to live virtuously, the most basic tool is discipline. Discipline allows us to be free because it gives us the power of choice. In the modern world, people are slaves to their desires. Those who live as slaves to their desires will probably never recognize this, as they believe they are free because they always do what they want. But being free doesn't mean doing whatever you want at any moment. True freedom consists in having the power of choice. Who do you think is freer? A lazy person who always wakes up late and never fulfills their obligations, or someone who wakes up early and always fulfills their responsibilities? At first glance, it may seem that the lazy person is freer because they do what they want. However, the lazy person has no power of choice, as they will never be able to live a life different from the one they have. They live enslaved by laziness, while the disciplined person who wakes up early and fulfills their responsibilities has the power of choice. They can choose to be lazy or responsible. In fact, this choice is available every morning of their life. The disciplined person, in their freedom of choice, decides to act with discipline because they know it is the right thing to do. This is true freedom, being able to choose to be responsible when you should, and choose fun and pleasure when you have fulfilled your responsibilities. The disciplined person lives free, while the lazy person lives enslaved by their laziness, with no possibility of improvement, as they live deceived, thinking they are free or happier. This example can be applied to any vice you can imagine. Now that we have clarified that discipline makes us freer, we need to understand what it really means to be disciplined. Every time we have a goal, whether it is to lose weight, build a business, become an elite athlete, or an incredible musician, it is necessary to work to achieve it. But it is not enough to strive for one day. Constant effort is required. And to make this effort, it is necessary to overcome our impulses. The ability to overcome these impulses and act despite the temptation not to is discipline. Being disciplined does not mean you will never feel the desire to relax. It just means you have developed the ability to resist that feeling. The more you resist these impulses, the better you will be able to do it in the future. Discipline develops like a muscle. It is also important to understand the difference between discipline and motivation. Motivation is a great fuel for getting things done, but it is inconsistent. One day you wake up motivated, and the next day that motivation may have disappeared. Therefore, a person who relies solely on motivation will never be able to make a change in their life or achieve their goals. As we have seen before, constant effort is necessary, not just for a few days. However, when you are a disciplined person, the result is different. Motivation can help you start, but when motivation disappears, discipline takes over. It keeps us moving towards our goal, even when we are unmotivated. Do you think an elite athlete always wants to train? Or that a successful writer always wants to write? Or that the most successful entrepreneur always wants to work? This is where the difference between those who settle for less and those who want to improve becomes apparent. We all feel like sitting on the couch or lying in bed, but not everyone has the ability to overcome that desire, and this is where the disciplined person has an advantage over others. Why are so many people undisciplined in the modern world? Why is it becoming so difficult to be disciplined nowadays? This is happening because life is becoming increasingly easy. When your survival is at stake, there is no room to neglect your responsibilities because your life depends on it. But when life becomes easy, two conditions develop and make it difficult to cultivate discipline. The first condition is temptations. We are surrounded by more sources of temptation and distraction than ever, making it increasingly difficult to overcome our desires. Things like television or social media are competing for our attention, and many of them are designed to attract and keep us engaged. We have at our fingertips the ability to do whatever we want through the internet. Never before has humanity had so many different possibilities to be distracted and not work. I am not saying that all these things are bad, but it is up to us to learn how to manage the time we dedicate to all of this. The second condition is a lack of resistance. An easier life also offers fewer opportunities to practice discipline. As I said before, discipline is like a muscle, and it will atrophy if not used. In the modern world, it is not necessary to be disciplined to survive. Amazon offers us next-day deliveries. Netflix allows us to watch whatever we want, whenever we want. Social media provides us with dopamine hits when we need it, and we can order food that will arrive at our house in 30 minutes. The list is endless. As I mentioned in my video on the art of being disciplined, instant gratification is slowly eliminating opportunities for us to practice discipline. We are becoming impatient, and our attention span is decreasing. There is a quote by Seneca that I really like, because it reflects well how an easier life removes opportunities for us to improve and be disciplined. The quote goes like this: "No one is less fortunate than the man whom adversity forgets, for he has no opportunity to be tested." Unfortunately, the world is eliminating sources of resistance that are necessary to create discipline. We must understand that comfort is not a bad thing. For the Stoics, it is just a tool, and this tool can be used for good or bad. Using comfort to rest after fulfilling our responsibilities is a good thing, something I even encourage. The problem arises with excess comfort, which atrophies our discipline. Everyone likes to sit on the couch and relax. However, discipline is uncomfortable. It is not pleasant because it causes us suffering, but this discomfort is the catalyst for growth. It gives us a sense of development, accomplishment, and achievement. It shows us the limits of our capacity and allows us to overcome them. So, how do we build discipline? The first step to being disciplined is to find a purpose. Define a goal that you want to achieve. As I mentioned before, discipline is like a muscle and therefore must be trained in the same way. For our discipline to grow, we need to create uncomfortable situations in our lives to practice it. Just as when training a muscle, you do not start by trying to lift 300 kilos on the first day. You start with a small weight. The same goes for discipline. We must start with small challenges, small goals that we want to achieve. Think of things in your life that are uncomfortable for you, but that you know you are capable of doing. Setting tasks that you are not capable of accomplishing with your current level of discipline is a waste of time, just as setting goals that you can easily overcome. Accomplishing these small, uncomfortable tasks will help build your discipline gradually, and soon you will be able to challenge yourself with more difficult goals. Each goal accomplished is a repetition that we do to strengthen our discipline muscle. Here are some ideas for goals you can set to work on your discipline. Try to exercise regularly, like running a certain number of days a week or going to the gym. Besides being healthy, it will make you feel satisfied and work on your discipline. Participate in sports events in your city. Look for sports events and use them as a challenge to overcome and work on your discipline, like participating in a race. Martial arts. Few sports work as much on discipline as martial arts. Plus, you get in shape and learn to defend yourself. Learn a new hobby, like cooking, sewing, or gardening. Developing new passions and hobbies is perfect for practicing consistency and dedicating effort to a task that enriches you as a person. Build something. Building something is another perfect activity to work on patience, effort, and discipline. Think of a project that excites you and try to complete it. Waking up early. Getting up early is a difficult task for many, making it perfect for working on discipline. You don't need to wake up very early all at once. Start gradually. I hope this video is useful for you to become more disciplined, or at least inspires you to overcome yourself. Finally, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel to receive more content rich in Stoicism. Here are 2 videos full of Stoic wisdom that you will probably enjoy. See you next time.